Every time people bring up AI stocks these days, the conversation almost instantly jumps to the massive mainstream giants. You already know the names, right? NVIDIA, Microsoft, AMD, and hey, for sure, their stock prices have already run incredibly far. But historically speaking, if you look back at every major investing era, the absolute biggest gains usually don't go to the people who buy the most famous companies right at their peak. Instead, the real returns often hide with what we call the silent builders. These are the under-the-radar companies quietly accumulating power and laying down the necessary foundation before the broader market even realizes what's going on. So in this explainer, we are going to dive into 3 companies doing exactly that.
And that brings us to a really fascinating question. Who will be the AI stars of 2027? Think about it. If the world of artificial intelligence actually continues to grow at the explosive rate that so many people expect, the companies dominating a few years from now might not be the household names we're all fixated on today. So today, we're shifting our focus to find those silent builders. These are the folks operating behind the scenes, totally setting themselves up to be absolutely indispensable in the near future. We're looking at 3 specific stocks, and each one occupies a completely different corner of the AI universe.
Here's a quick look at our roadmap for today. First, we're looking beyond the AI hype. Second, ASTS and Internet from Space. Third, AAOI, the nervous system. Fourth, NOW, the Enterprise AI OS. And finally, the 2027 infrastructure bet.
All right, let's jump right into Section 1, ASTS and Internet from Space.
So AST SpaceMobile is taking on a staggering level of ambition. They are quite literally trying to build a mobile network directly from space. In the future they're designing, your standard everyday smartphone will be able to connect directly to a satellite orbiting the Earth. That completely bypasses the need for a traditional cell tower nearby. I know, it sounds exactly like something straight out of a sci-fi movie. But the crazy part is, this company is actively working to make this a reality right now. And as they inch closer to that goal, the market is starting to watch them very, very closely.
Now, you might be wondering, what on earth does a satellite company have to do with artificial intelligence? Well, the absolutely crucial point here is that the future of AI isn't just about chatbots living on your laptop. AI is going to have to connect with the messy physical world more and more. We're talking about autonomous vehicles, drones, robotics, the Internet of Things, entire smart cities. And all of those physical AI applications require one main thing to actually function: absolute ubiquitous internet connectivity. But our world still has massive dead zones. If ASTS pulls this off, they aren't just a satellite company anymore. They essentially become the global internet infrastructure that makes real-world AI possible, whether you're floating in the middle of the ocean or hiking up a remote mountain.
And ASTS isn't trying to do this all on their own. They've already locked in massive global telecommunication partners. We're talking AT&T, Verizon, Vodafone. That is huge validation for them. These global giants clearly see the potential, and if ASTS's system actually becomes fully operational, their revenue could grow exponentially.
Okay, but let's stay grounded for a second, because the risks here are severe. ASTS is a very high-risk play. Right now, they aren't generating serious profits. In fact, they're burning through a lot of cash. Their entire future hinges on extreme execution. Can they actually launch the satellites? Will the system be stable? Will regular customers even use it? Plus, they're going head-to-head with some fierce competition, most notably Elon Musk's Starlink. So, this is a classic change the world or failed trying scenario. It is a highly volatile future tech bet.
Moving right along to Section 2, AAOI, the nervous system.
When most people look at AI, they instantly look at the brain, the GPUs doing all the heavy thinking. But here's the thing, a brain is essentially useless without a nervous system. A GPU literally cannot work its magic if it can't instantly transmit massive amounts of data to other GPUs. In modern AI data centers, you've got tens of thousands of GPUs working simultaneously. Mountains of data are moving every single second. So if NVIDIA is the brain doing the processing, AAOI is the nervous system handling the data transmission. Without a fast, reliable nervous system, the brain just can't function.
Applied Optoelectronics, or AAOI, operates in the realm of high-speed data transmission hardware, specifically fiber optics and optical networking. And the big buzzword you really need to know here is 800G optics. The market is starting to look closely at AAOI again, all because of the incredible demand for this exact technology. As the AI world builds more and more of these colossal data centers, every single one of those centers demands increasingly fast data transmission systems. AAOI is perfectly positioned to provide the highly specialized equipment needed to meet this insatiable demand for speed.
What makes AAOI particularly interesting from a financial angle is that it's currently kind of flying under the radar.
Unlike those massive AI darlings that have seen their valuations skyrocket to historic highs, the market hasn't yet slapped AAOI with that massive premium we see in the larger AI stocks. Because it hasn't been priced at those dizzying heights just yet, there's a strong perception that if the company continues to ride the wave of AI data center expansion, there's still significant room for growth or strong upside potential.
But just like our first company, we need a reality check. Hardware is notoriously difficult. The competition is intense, and unlike software, these companies typically suffer from lower profit margins. Plus, AAOI has a history of severe revenue fluctuations. So, the multi-million-dollar question for anyone looking at this company is whether they can actually maintain their competitive edge and deliver consistent growth. But if you're looking to invest in the foundational, behind-the-scenes infrastructure of AI, AAOI is definitely a vital piece of the puzzle.
All right, let's jump to section 3. Now, the Enterprise AI OS.
ServiceNow is an enterprise software company. Now, for a long time, many people just thought of them as an IT help desk tool, the place you go to submit a ticket when your work laptop breaks. But Now is aggressively transforming itself into the central AI hub for entire corporations. You see, AI in the real business world isn't just about chatting with a fun AI assistant. It's about connecting disjointed, messy corporate systems, HR, finance, security, customer service, daily workflows. ServiceNow is using AI to bridge all these separate islands together, effectively creating a unified enterprise AI operating system.
And this brings us to their absolute superpower, their business advantage. Because their software becomes the central nervous system for how a company operates on a daily basis, they become deeply, deeply embedded in the client's workflow. Once a massive corporation integrates ServiceNow, it is incredibly painful and extremely expensive to switch to a competitor. In the business, we call this having high switching costs, and it makes their business incredibly sticky. Add to that the high-margin, recurring subscription revenue that's typical of software platforms, and you've got a highly profitable, resilient business model that's just rapidly expanding its capabilities with AI.
However, quality rarely comes cheap, right? Because the market is well aware of how strong ServiceNow's business model actually is, the stock commands a very high valuation. The quality is practically already priced in. Furthermore, the enterprise AI space is the ultimate battleground of the titans. They aren't just competing with scrappy startups. They are going toe-to-toe with absolute giants like Microsoft and Salesforce, who are also racing to dominate enterprise AI. But NOW's distinct advantage really remains those deep, pre-existing roots they have in corporate workflows.
Which brings us to our final section, Section 4, the 2027 infrastructure bet. So, to summarize the whole shebang, we have 3 completely different companies, yet all 3 act as non-negotiable foundations for the future of AI. AST provides the global reach from space, so AI can interact with the physical world anywhere on the map. AAOI provides the raw speed in the data centers, ensuring the AI brains can actually process all that data. And NEWO provides the application layer, turning AI from a cool novelty into a fully functional operating system for the world's biggest businesses. These might not be the most talked about stocks today, but make no mistake, they're all positioned at critical choke points of the AI ecosystem.
Just a quick heads up before we wrap up today's explainer. It is super important to state that today's analysis is a review of market trends, definitely not financial advice. The AI sector, particularly when you're looking at growth stage infrastructure, is subject to extreme volatility. These stocks can experience massive swings in both directions. So it's absolutely paramount that you always conduct your own deep research into a company's business model, their financials, their competition, and their risks before making any moves.
I want to leave you with one final provocative thought. Think back to the gold rush. The people who consistently made the most money weren't usually the ones out there digging for gold. They were the ones selling the shovels. As the AI gold rush continues to accelerate at a breakneck pace, you have to ask yourself, are you going to chase the crowded mainstream names fighting for the gold, or are you going to look a little deeper at the builders creating the shovels? Thanks for joining me on this explainer, and I hope this helps you view the AI landscape from a completely new perspective.